You unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension. A dimension of sound. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into the Sabres Zone.
Hi folks, welcome to the Sabres Zone. This is a video on the channel, if you're new, that discusses what one of you had to say. So I got a clip, and it's time for a Sabres Zone. It's been a while. Been a while for all my videos. And let me open it up. All right guys, here it is. And shout out goes to Real Deal Primer. I think Real Deal, I think you got a shout out recently too, I can't remember. Anyway, Real Deal says, as a child boy, my friends would mock me for being a Sabres fan. Can we all relate to that? Especially out here for me in Montreal. Seems like when the playoffs rolled around, the same old motto would apply, let the best team win mentality. As a grown man, not only is my son named Dominic, with a K, I'm still as passionate as a fan. I've always said, I'll be at the parade, never lost faith. Some say you need to learn how to win in the playoffs before cups arrive. Maybe so, but with this team, anything is possible. Yep, anything is possible, Real Deal, because there's a thing called the 2012 LA Kings that happened, and anything's possible. The Kings made they won their first playoff series for the first time in 10 years in 2012 and went on to win the Stanley Cup as an 8 seed. Anything can happen in the day and age we're in now. Now, these were the times I dreamed of, guys. I gotta admit, when I was a kid, I dreamed of this time. This was the era I wanted. This was it. I wanted to see the cup circulate around the league. I was so sick of Montreal and the Islanders. And even though I like the Islanders dynasty, I wanted to see it go. And then Edmonton, you know, you had all this era. Well, Edmonton, I won't count as a dynasty. I just won't, because it wasn't 3 consecutive. But you guys get what I'm saying. 3 dynasties, let's say, for some of you that want to call Edmonton a dynasty. An era, you know, where they held the cup long, Edmonton. And then Calgary got in there for some of the fun. So, you know, and then Montreal was the other team inside the Edmonton era that broke Edmonton, you know, the streak of Edmonton winning 3 cups was broken by Calgary. But you get what I'm saying. Montreal intervened, Calgary intervened. And of course, the Gretzky trade was the main thing. That team was set to win 4 or 5 cups in a row. After they blew it in '86, they would have won 4 or 5 cups in a row. And when they traded Gretzky, guys, that's a whole other video for another planet. Talk about that another time. But now we're in the era that year to year. I didn't think Vegas was going to win the cup last year before the year started, guys. They just missed the playoffs. They weren't looking good. They didn't really have any good goaltending. And then this guy got hot in nets. Adin Hill got hot. You know, everybody talks Eichel. What about Adin Hill? You know, he's the guy that made it happen, really. Eichel was great in the playoffs. Don't get me wrong, he was. But without Adin Hill's goaltending, that team's out in the first round. And this is the era we're in. A guy like Adin Hill can win the Stanley Cup for you. We're in that era. You know, you don't need Hasek and Patrick Waugh and Brodeur anymore. You just need good, solid goaltending. You need a goalie that's hot at the right time. And that's it. That's all you need now. You got to build a team right, you know, which we're doing, I believe, right? I mean, Real Deal, I think you'll agree with that. We're building this team right. This is a good-looking bunch that we're building here. It's a big forward unit. This isn't a bunch of midgets. It's not. This is a tall bunch that we're slapping together, big guys. And the truth is, you know, we're not really a small team at all. But I would like still to, I'm always a believer to add size on a team, you know. Now, can we get a bit of grit going? Yeah, that's the thing, right? If we get some grit going, we got a potential Stanley Cup team come playoff time. We can't walk into the playoffs trying to be nice guys about it. You know, we got to go in there hating everybody, hating the league, hating the fact we were last overall, how many times, hating that we were the brunt head of jokes, hating the 18-game losing, hating a lot of things. going into this run. There's got to be a lot of hate too, because you got to be motivated. You can't just walk in and look at the guy next to you and say, well, I hope you have a great series. I'm counting on you. You know, like, no. There's got to be brothers in arms, you know? You got to walk in there and you just got to hate. And you got to do everything you can to survive. Everything humanly possible into this playoffs, not to be the team that loses a best of 7 series. Because it's not, you know, a lot of people say, well, you know, you become a champion by learning how to lose. You got to learn how to lose before you learn how to win and all that crap. Give me a break. Only a loser will say something like that anyway. No, you don't have to learn how to lose first. You don't. He brings up a good point here, folks. You know, do we have to lose first? No, we don't. We don't. The Islanders did before their dynasty, yes. The Canadians had to get humiliated by the Sabres in '75 before they woke up and had that 4-year run. It does happen sometimes. But in reality, we're not in that era no more. You know what I mean? It's not like it used to be real deal. Remember, it was, you had to go through stages. And I still have it in my head too. I'm just as bad. You see me talking about winning 7 playoff games. Hell, we win 7 playoff games. I want 16 at that point, of course. But what I would be satisfied with is coming this close to the Final Four, heading into the next season, get over the hump the next year, you know? But it's, there's no reason we can't, our first go-around, just win the Stanley Cup, of course. Yeah, absolutely. Vegas almost did it. They were an expansion team and they almost did it. It can happen. So we don't have to do like Washington and choke for 30 years before winning a cup. You don't have to. You know, I mean, I'm happy the Capitals got their cup eventually, because I seen that team from its inception. And folks, it wasn't pleasant in 1975. Any Washington Capitals fan will agree with this. It was brutal what that franchise went through for like 5 years before they had, in the second half of 1979-80, they had 39 points in 40 games, I believe it was, in that span of time. And for the first time, respectable hockey was in Washington. Here they are in like their 5th or 6th year at the time, you know? Yeah, whatever it is, 5th or 6th year. So, guys, it doesn't have to be that we have to suffer for 3-4 years before we win the cup. Now, do I believe we'll get it our first go-around? No, of course not. But if we did, I'm not complaining. You're not complaining. That just means a potential dynasty's on the horizon. I'm talking a 3-year dynasty, not one of these fake dynasties like today, guys. Not one of those watered-down versions like Chicago or even Tampa Bay. That's not a dynasty. You know, that's a back-to-back champion. No, I'm talking 3 consecutive years of winning the Stanley Cup in a row. That, for me, would be so justified if that happened for the Sabres. That would be so justified because of all the suffering in our history. To me, that's justified if we had like a 3-year run. And I would love to be the most hated team in the league eventually. That's my goal as a fan. I'll tell you right now, guys. Yep, my goal as a fan is I want all the folks to cheer for us in the beginning, and after 3 years, just can't stand it anymore that the Sabres keep winning. Like, I really hope that happens. For me, that would be the best of times. Because, you know, Leaf fans especially would be just shaking their head how we did it and they couldn't. And Toronto, you got to manage your money better. You know, that's another story for another video, which I'll probably never do, but I always have to throw it out there. We don't want Kevin Adams to even come close to thinking and acting like Kyle Dubas. We don't want that here. We don't. We want the patient, long-term plan. So when we get there, not only are we ready to win a Stanley Cup or 2 or 3, we have everybody locked in. They're all locked in at this point. And free agents, who's not going to want to come to Buffalo and play on this team? You tell me. It's a hockey town. Players know it. They just didn't want to deal with the mess that was going on. They didn't want to come here and waste what time they have left. Now players are saying they feel there's a chance to win the Stanley Cup here, so they're coming. We're not in the era anymore that the past matters. We're in the era that tomorrow matters. We always were, But now that's more evident than before, I believe. Because, guys, I never thought I'd see the LA Kings win a Stanley Cup. They've won 2. I never thought I'd see the Pittsburgh Penguins win a Stanley Cup. They've won 5. I never thought these teams would win a Stanley Cup before Buffalo back in the 70s. Never! I didn't think the Chicago Blackhawks would win a Stanley Cup before the Sabres, even in the 70s when they had a good team in the 70s. Buffalo was better. And I never thought Detroit would win all those cups before Buffalo. And then we have teams coming in named Tampa Bay, winning at Las Vegas, all these teams winning Stanley Cups before the Sabres, which is why I believe in time things even out. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm going to leave it there. All right, guys, done for the night. I'm still tired. I want to work on the room. I want to start uploading these videos. See you guys at some point tomorrow, most likely. You have a good night. I'm happy to be back. Happy to pump out a few videos to you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.
Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to ensure Dimension access.